start off the melody with this piano out of contact. So for this melody, or for soulful melodies in general, you kind of want it to be slower, but for this melody, you can't see it, but I have it in 143 BPM. So instead of doing like 70 BPM, I just double timed it or sped it up and put it at like 140 BPM. But it just kind of stretches out over a longer period of time. But like if it was like 70 BPM, then I'd probably have it like this. But that's just something I wanted to mention. In terms of the chord progression, pretty much what I did was I just had a major and I had it descend. And so for this first chord progression, it's just an A major 7. I just moved around some of the chords. Like this, for example, would just be a major 5 right here. But I moved it down so that it felt a little more dissonant, so it could resolve to this next minor chord here, which is just a minor 7. And then I went back to that major 7. And then instead here, I went up to that next chord, so this is just another minor 7, but just a lot of inversions done to it. And one more thing I'm going to mention is you see here the velocities are all the exact same. I have no clue why I did that. 9 times out of 10 I'll press Alt R and I'll like completely randomize the velocity, but clearly this was that 1 time out of 10 where I just didn't do it. I don't know why, but you know, when you're trying to make these type of loops, you want them to sound realistic, and all the velocities being the same isn't that realistic, but luckily it worked in this case. Next, I found a guitar chord one shot. After that, I found another guitar one shot, and the pattern just follows the notes from the chord progression. And also this note is a little off. I don't think I did it on purpose, but it sounds good. I got this plucky bass guitar that also follows the root note of the chord progression, and for this I wanted to add a little more rhythm, because in a lot of these soulful type melodies, your bass kind of carries where the melody goes and has a lot of that rhythm to it. I found this more synthetic lead in Omnisphere. I don't really think that it generally matches like the vintage soul type of vibe, but I thought it sounded pretty dope with the track, so I just added it in. I went to Omnisphere again, and this time I found another synth. This one kind of reminded me of 70s disco and R&B, so I figured it'd be cool to throw on top of the piano, so I just copied and pasted the same chord progression. I went into Contact and I grabbed a portamento string. That essentially means that each note is going to slide into one another, which I think creates a more realistic string violin type of sound. I felt like the melody was lacking something, and the first thing that came to mind was vocals, because obviously samples, a lot of them are going to have vocals in them. So I decided to record out my own vocals.
I'm always by your side.
And I can give a brief explanation for how I did these vocals. If you guys want a more in-depth vocal tutorial, just let me know in the comments, but I'm going to be pretty broad with this. So you see here I have 5 layers because I wanted it to sound big. And so for the first layer, it's like my normal voice, and I'm just going to play each layer to show you kind of what I did.
I'm always by your side.
So yeah, I'm not the best singer. Usually I'll just use some sort of pitch correction like Melodyne and some EQ. And I did that for each of these channels. And then at the end, I'll route them all to one channel. And then at one channel, I'll add compressor and fresh air and stuff. I didn't want to do too much to it because I wanted these vocals to sound raw. And after that, I went to another channel, and I'm just going to play them one by one. I went to this channel here, and I think this one's a higher voice.
I'm always by your side.
So yeah, that one's a higher voice. And then after that, we go to this next one. And by this point, I don't remember exactly what all these are, but you'll see like how they kind of come together.
I'm always by your side.
So yeah, that one's a lower voice. And then here we have just more voices, probably to stack or harmonize with that first one.
I'm always by your side.
You see that's a pretty unnaturally low voice. I don't know what, I might have just pitched it down in the pitch corrector, bro, because my voice is not going that low. And then the last one,
I'm always by your side.
so yeah, I don't have a great voice, but putting that all together, it sounded pretty good. Kind of my big tip is just to use a pitch corrector. I feel like that kind of gets you to where you want to go. And I didn't use any like AI or anything. This is just how my voice is. So just play with your own voice and listen to things that kind of interest you and see how you can recreate that. That's kind of what I did. But like I said, if you guys want a more in-depth vocal tutorial or like how I make vocal type samples, just let me know in the comments and like I got y'all. And then after the vocals, I decided that I wanted some sort of organic sounding perc loop. So I just used my own voice and I just made a little drum beat. And then I found some chimes to sit underneath it to add a little more texture. After I completed the melody, I exported it out and I chopped it up kind of how I felt like it would sound cool, just to add as a section of the complete loop. And then after that, I exported it out again so it was all together, and then I pitched it up 2 semitones.